Let's begin with our top focus on Pakistan. In the midst of the political turmoil in Pakistan over Imran Khan's arrest, there's been big relief for Imran Khan as Pakistan's Supreme Court has now ordered his release. The apex court of Pakistan has now directed Khan to approach the High Court tomorrow. Chief Justice of Pakistan, Umar Bandial, made some observations that suggested he was not convinced with the way the arrest was made by Rangers. That, of course, are the paramilitary force in the country. Now, remember, about 100 Rangers had stormed the court premises and broken the window glasses to arrest Khan on Tuesday. The Chief Justice of Pakistan has now ordered Imran Khan to stop his supporters from rioting on the streets. Tomorrow, Khan will be appearing in the Islamabad High Court to get regular bail, but for now, he's staying at the police line's guest house. After coming out of court, Khan asked his supporters to stay calm and further said he wants elections in the country, not anarchy. Now, what kind of an effect will Imran Khan's appeal have? What does the Supreme Court's decision today indicate? Let's try and get in a sense of perspective. And for that, I'm joined in by my guest, Shandana Gulzar Khan, who is the member-elect of the National Assembly of Pakistan. I'm also joined in by Ahmer Shaheen, who is a senior Pak journalist. Many thanks to you, Shandana and Ahmer. It's a pleasure to have you on my show. Shandana, if I may begin with you, when the arrest happened, there were questions being raised about why did Islamabad's High Court call it legal and whether or not there was pressure from the Pak army or did it have a role to play at all. Has the Supreme Court in Pakistan restored faith in Pakistan's judiciary today?
Thank you so much. Akanksha, I think it will be a bit difficult to comment on the behavior or the reasoning of the High Court of Islamabad, the Chief Justice in particular. You might as well know that yesterday there was another case which had been brought by the ruling government, which was dismissed in the Islamabad High Court. It was about a very frivolous paternity lawsuit brought by the current government. I mean, they're suing him for everything, including not being married to his own wife. But anyways, if we relegate that to the past, I would think that the decision by the Supreme Court, as you say, it has restored some semblance of sanity on the streets. It has, I wouldn't say restored faith in the judiciary. What it has done is restored faith that we might still have a constitution, because for the last 1 year, we've seen our constitution being stolen gradually, torn to bits, receded, put up in the winds for tide. I mean, the British don't even have a written constitution. And yet the country is going strong. So our biggest concern is not the judiciary, not the opposition, not even the military. Our issue is the constitution. Can we trust the current lot of leaders not to desecrate a document which has been decided upon by the people and signed upon by this very parliament? So those are our concerns. That's our overarching concerns. That's the reason we keep on pressing for elections. That is the reason we're on the streets. That is the reason that Khan has been shot at 4 times. If you want implementation of the constitution, we never thought we'd face such deadly problems.
Umar, how do you weigh in on what Shandana has to say? She's talking about how the constitution, in fact, should remain sacrosanct. And that is a very valid observation. But why is this not being regarded as sacrosanct? Does the military not have a role to play?
Right. So let's get to the bottom of this. When this case was being heard at the Islamabad High Court, analysts like myself were telling, answering questions and saying that when this hits the court, the Islamabad High Court is going to decide on the validity of Imran Khan's arrest and say that it's valid. Now, why would they say that it's valid? It's because, like many times before, even this time, there was a warrant. There was a warrant, and Imran Khan was needed to be arrested the way he was arresting other politicians when he was in power. So that's why it was predictable that this Islamabad High Court would allow this arrest to be.
But why wouldn't the
legal.
High Court? Wouldn't the High Court, in fact, focus on the manner in which that arrest took place?
Yes, I was getting to that. So the Islamabad High Court would look at the documents. There is a warrant, arrest warrant for a person. That person is arrested. it is granted. Why? Because that's how it works in Pakistan practically. That's how it's worked for thousands of other cases where people have been arrested because there was an arrest warrant. Now, Supreme Court. Now, at the same time, I also predicted that when this thing goes into the Supreme Court is going to take out their Imran Khan specific magnifying glass and look at every step of the way in which procedures were not followed. Now, when that happens, as I had predicted it before, and many analysts had as well, because the Supreme Court of Pakistan has been giving a lot of leeway to Imran Khan, according to the other side. So when Supreme Court was scrutinizing it, Supreme Court was scrutinizing when was the warrant shown, how were the procedures adopted, and why. And they've made a new precedent that arrests cannot be made in court. Now, I have done thousands of stories on people who were arrested from the court. So this time, Supreme Court has come out and said arrest, and I think it's a fair enough way to handle arrests, that people should have faith in the judiciary, and when they're at the court, they should not fear being arrested.
Right.
Yeah, but it starts with Imran Khan. The reliefs start with Imran Khan. These reliefs were not there for the opposition when Imran Khan's regime, and now he says the military that was running his government, was punishing his opponents and punishing journalists. I mean, this chief editor for the TV channel I worked for, he was incarcerated for more than 200 days, exactly in the same manner. But somehow, the Supreme Court of Pakistan sees that all those procedures that could have been, should have been followed, were not followed, granting Imran Khan ability to get out of jail free, basically.
All right. Shandana, I think you heard what Umar has to say. And when we are, as an extension to that very valid point you made, when you bring in the credibility, the validity, or the importance of the Constitution, what about the law and order on the streets? Will the PTI take responsibility for the arson and violence on the streets of Pakistan?
Thank you, Akanksha. Before I move on to your question, if you allow me 30 seconds, just to briefly spell out the law of Pakistan. It's not for the Islamabad High Court to decide what political considerations and what political party is before it. It's simple. Its only job as a constitutional court, applying very critical parts of the Constitution, not regular law, mind you, not subsidiary law, is for the High Court to decide, can it overlook constitutional protections? No, it cannot. Can any court in Pakistan overlook settled law by the Supreme Court? No, it cannot. Can any court in Pakistan look at the Constitution and say, well, you know what, Imran Khan did this in the past, and therefore we're going to apply the law differently? That's not how the law rolls, and I'm afraid I don't want to get into the political ramifications of what my friend here has been saying. Let's just put it this way. If the Islamabad High Court had violated the constitutional provisions, they've been set right today. Let's move on from that. Arson and treason. Arson and mayhem, arson and putting the streets and the people in terror. 50 young men have been killed so far. Women dragged by their hair, women dragged out of wheelchairs, women slapped and beaten by men, men threatened by police forces and paramilitary forces that will rape your women, will strip them naked. It's all on TV. Interestingly, from Peshawar, where I belong to and where I am right now, I have eyewitness accounts of certain government buildings being set on fire by people stepping out of official vehicles, official big carry lorry vehicles, coming in plain clothes, setting the fires, and then the same men covering their face with a handkerchief, shooting at the protesters. So I'm afraid it's a bit all too convenient. And I'll give you a practical example. I'm an MP, a member of parliament, member of Congress, if you will. And I have access to pretty much many places that others may not. Yet, when I even try to enter the swanky Islamabad club, let alone a military encampment or a military cantonment or a military building, I am checked a dozen times and I'm asked and verified before I'm allowed in. And how convenient is that random strangers that nobody knows or will own up for have entered military installations and things to fire?
Okay, you made a very glaring, in fact, you're giving some very crucial examples, something that I've also been hearing from people I'm acquainted with in Pakistan. Umar, I want to draw your attention to reports I read in March. There were reports about how the Pak government was exploring legal options to declare Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf as a banned outfit. Does that explain the delay in the Pak Army's deployment to control the violence on the streets?
I think before we get to the delay, why the Pak Army has shown such restraint, we need to get back to the fact that the honorable other guest is obviously representative of a political party that we're talking about, whereas I am trying to be, like myself, a journalist who is neutral, who sees how Nawaz Sharif was brought in by the military
Fair
and
enough.
now sees Imran Khan was brought in by the military, and then Imran Khan is upset military doesn't support him anymore. The issue with let's start with the court. If we are saying that the Supreme Court verdict has to be taken in because it's a great court and all of that, Supreme Court of Pakistan has legitimized all the military coups in Pakistan. The former Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif, when he was barred for life already, that's happened and it keeps happening in Pakistan. Even then, the judge, who's deceased now, his video was leaked. And he said that he did it under pressure. Similarly, videos and audios of Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf leadership have leaked. Have you seen Ali Gandapur's video in which he is clearly telling people to go and to go to these places and do what they're doing?
All right.
So PTI, it was very predictable, and I was predicting it before it happened, before there was any violence, that Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf will be instigating its people to go out there and take the law in its own hands and protest not just peacefully, but the way they do. And now, and there will be cases against PTI leadership. Some of them have been talking about peaceful protest, but many of the central leadership has been telling where to go and where all that violence is happening to go there and reach there. And they've been talking to each other. I don't know how the audio and video leaks have happened. That's something that should be probed as well.
Right.
But the instigation
In
to
fact,
violence
to
and
add to
sending
that,
protesters where there
Shandana,
was violence.
if I want to add to what Ahmad is saying, the PTI till 9 hours ago, the last tweet said, important to show that we will not stop protesting until Imran Khan is released. If you go to a protest today, please use hashtag I am Imran Khan. With protest pictures, also include the hashtag behind you skipper.
Behind
hashtag.
you skipper.
Yes. And while in no way is it calling for violence, but the fact is that yes, there have been appeals to people to come out in full force on the streets.
Thank you, Akanksha. My friend here seems to have used the ultimate Freudian faux pas in Pakistan by using the word neutral, but that's fine. In a lighter note, look, the Minister for Information of the current ridiculously inept and incompetent as well as corrupt government, if I may, since we're going full throttle, has threatened the Supreme Court judges with arson to their homes in case they decided to afford any constitutional or legal protection to Imran Khan. So I think that speaks itself for the tenor and the trauma that this government is facing. Having said that, I may well be a spokesperson for Imran Khan. I may well be a spokesperson for PTI, but I'm also a spokesperson for Pakistan. My oath is in the Constitution of Pakistan, not in the Constitution of PTI. And let me be very clear. Pakistan, for the first time in the last 75 years of its history, we're experiencing a 62% inflation. People are at a boiling point. This ridiculously incompetent government has brought the entire country to its knees. People can't eat. They don't have access to health. Madam Mariam Nawaz, the leader of PMLN, one of the leaders, has cancelled the health card, the compulsory health card. So the people are already waiting to explode. Imran Khan was the final straw that broke the camel's back. That's what people unfortunately lack vision. They don't understand that when you bring people to this point, and I'm afraid, again, the Constitution, this entire discussion has been about the Constitution. Article 19 guarantees me and every other Pakistani the right to protest.
But
nobody can usurp that right.
I want you to throw light on how the current violence and the unrest in Pakistan is only taking its own toll at the economy, which is already in its doldrums.
Before I get to the economy, very clearly, I want to clarify that these audios and videos of PTI leadership are not just saying, hashtag, use the hashtag. They're actually saying where the violence is happening. They're telling the protesters to go over there. And they're also celebrating the fact that someone's house got ransacked and everything. Whereas the government, as irresponsible as the statement was of Mariam Aurangzeb saying that the judges should also see that one day it could happen to their houses, is different from saying that we're going to do it to their houses. Similarly, when in the Supreme Court, when Imran Khan was asked about the violence, Imran Khan legitimized it the same way the PTI leadership, not the esteemed guest with me, but the PTI leadership who claims she's more neutral than I am. The PTI leadership actually said the same thing that Imran Khan said in the Supreme Court. He said, "What do you expect when I get arrested?" So even Imran Khan in the Supreme Court, and he was snubbed by the Supreme Court judge, and he was told, "Are you legitimizing it? You should delegitimize the violence." And after that was when Imran Khan said that, yeah, violence shouldn't happen. But before that, he was like, "What do you expect when I get arrested?
Shandana,
There will be
how do
violence
you
in
react to
the
what
street."
Umar just said? I have a question on the credibility about the National Accountability Bureau, but quickly, 15 seconds, please come up with a rebuttal if you have any.
If this is for me, Akansha,
Yes.
I'm afraid this entire debate has been rather, how do I say, low-lying, because we're talking about the Constitution, not what Imran Khan thinks, not what he says, and not what a judge snubs him on. Is the Constitution supreme or not? That's the question before the entire country today.
No, but Shantana, let's not forget that, this kind of unrest has been unprecedented in the recent past for Pakistan.
Absolutely.
Having said that,
absolutely.
and if Imran Khan goes on to say on record in front of the judiciary that what else did you expect, he is supporting that unrest that's taking place.
Let's put it this way. If we're going to blame a rape victim for being raped and telling her not to protest, we're a very poor country for it,
That's a wrong analogy. That's a wrong analogy.
I'm afraid it's the only analogy that works. When you're going to destroy the Constitution, people will react.
It's
not about Imran Khan. It's not about Imran Khan. It's about Pakistan. Pakistan first. Pakistan always, Pakistan forever. Simple as that.
Shandana, National Accountability Bureau is known to be one of the most infamous institutions, which even the Supreme Court judges have declared that NAB has been created for political engineering. Even Imran Khan has been accused of using it to arrest other former prime ministers. In fact, even the current Prime Minister, Shehbaz Sharif, former Prime Minister Ehsan Iqbal, Asif Ali Zardari, and many others. How do you react to allegations that Khan is getting a taste of his own medicine?
I think it's a question of comparing apples and oranges. The Zardari family, Nawaz Sharif family, Fazlur Rahman, they're all incredibly corrupt people. Mr. 10%, penthouse pirates. These are things that international press has written about them. Comparing Khan to them is a non-starter. But if you will talk about the National Accountability Bureau, yes, it is flawed. And recently, this current inept and corrupt government, the kind of changes they have wrought in the NAB laws have ensured that people who steal up to 50 million rupees will never be caught. That is the NAB law for you. What else could I say?
Emma,
it means anybody who steals less than 50 million is not a thief. What do you do with that kind of a law?
All right, Emma. So Emma, my question.
The topic was not if Constitution is supreme. Of course it is. If it was a topic, of course we would have agreed. And perhaps Imran Khan should have not come out and say that army was running my government because Constitution, if in his eyes, was supreme. Also, the apples and oranges, it's true that we're talking about apples and oranges because Zardari and all these people that she's naming, Zardari spent 11 years behind bars and then nothing was proven against him. NAB is a tool that has been created to keep people in check, mostly politicians, but also media, and also people who might bring Pakistan towards constitutionalism. But it's not going to happen because as soon as people like Imran Khan, Nawaz Sharif, Zardari, anybody, actually this regime has lessened the kind of the time for incarceration for NAB investigations.
Shandana and
but
Ahmed,
anybody who gets into power will use a tool that's available to to victimize their opponents.
I'm afraid I'm running out of time, but I do certainly hope that general elections take place in Pakistan and that the people of Pakistan get that right to decide for themselves who's fit to rule the country. Many thanks to you, Shandana and Emmer, for joining in on this discussion.